3, 2.
Hello everyone, this is Megan Meehan representing Alexander Gurman Productions, and I am very pleased and honored to be here today with Beth Barry. Beth is an artist, and she recently showed at the Music Contemporary Gallery, where I am an associate curator. She's also associated with Gallery 35 and some other galleries in New York City, right?
Yes.
So thank you for being here, Beth.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here. Thank you.
So I guess the first thing to ask you is, how did you become inspired to become, when did you decide I want to be an artist professionally? And then how did you, break into the industry, which can be kind of hard to navigate sometimes?
Yeah, it is hard to navigate. Well, I started painting when I was a very young child, and I've been painting ever since. But I didn't really want to pursue it professionally until I was an older person. I think as an older person, I feel more confident, and it's been easier for me to pursue the actual business part of the art, and I don't feel as anxious as I did as a kid doing that.
Navigating the business part of art can be very difficult for artists.
Yes.
Because it's a whole different field. A lot of artists, we're just happy just sitting there and creating the work, but then when you get into, the marketing of it, it's very confusing. There's no set path. You do this, you do that, the things else. There's various ways to get into the industry. So you have been associated with some galleries.
Yes, I am now part of the Carter Burden Gallery, which is a nonprofit gallery in New York City.
Marvelous.
Everyone has to be over 60, which I think is very cool as well. And I applied 4 years ago. I sent my images in 4 years ago, and I heard back from them this past summer. So you never know when you're going to hear from people. I was just in a 4-person show. I had 6 very large canvases. It was very exciting. It's here in Chelsea. And now I'm part of that gallery, so I'll have an opportunity to show again.
Oh, that's marvelous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Beth's work is really beautiful. You really mix abstract and landscapes. You take those two media, those two methods, and kind of put them together, and your work is very soothing. It's very beautiful to look at. You were honorable mention winner, correct?
Yes, at a show in New Jersey, and
because I remember it's beautiful seascapes, and I really enjoy.
Well, the sensibility of the combination is very important to me. I come to painting as an abstract printmaker, so I have always had the kind of looseness of abstraction, but through my experience with plein air painting and more disciplined work, I kind of feel like I've controlled it a little bit more, and the sensibility of it having a literal piece is important sometimes to people as well.
Now, as far as your works go, I know that the ones that you showed at the Music Contemporary Gallery were kind of small. So generally, what are the size limits that you work with? And generally, how much would you typically sell your pieces for?
Well, the 2 pieces I just sold at Carter Burden, they were each 36 by 48 inches, and they were $2,800.
Oh, so that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
Original artwork.
It is reasonable.
Congratulations on selling.
Thank you. I feel like, since it isn't something I've been doing to make a living my whole life, I have a career as a psychotherapist, and I was an art therapist. So the drive to need to make money, since it isn't as important as it would have been if I were a young person needing to do it, I'm okay if they're a little less. I'd rather have people be able to have art that they love and that makes them feel good to have it in their space.
You said that you were a psychotherapist. Do you feel that your experiences as a therapist, specifically somebody who worked with art therapy, impacted your own creativity?
Well, the therapeutic process is a creative process. It's not a literal creative process, but in the interactions that you have with people that you're talking to, it's an idiosyncratic process. It's only you and that person. Each person you talk to, it's a different process. So in and of itself, it is very creative. I don't know directly how that's influenced my art, but they're both creative processes.
And as somebody who, because you were an art therapist, you do understand that art has very calming properties and it can help people. Because there's for example, we always hear now a lot about how art programs have been cut in schools. A lot of kids don't even have coloring anymore.
It's terrible.
And you realize that, because and as far as I guess a lot of the people in the higher ups of the Board of Education are oh, art's not important, it's not important. But you realize how important it is when it helps people. Even for therapeutic purposes,
very much so.
How much work it does. So how can you say that art doesn't matter?
No, it's very therapeutic. I worked at Brooklyn Psychiatric Hospital with chronically mentally ill patients, and the process of creating was so calming for them and very exciting. And they had access to the creative process in a way that was very moving that you would be surprised by. It can be very curative, and it really is curative.
I feel like in today's environment, like now artists always need to help one another, whether this is visual artist or performing artist or musical artist. I mean, if you're an artist, you need to help. I mean, even writers, you need to help other artists.
Yes.
And I think it's especially important today because art programs are getting cut.
Yeah.
Arts are basically non-existent in the schools anymore. And I think now, we need to have more ways for people that are creative to embrace their creativity and find places that it can be fostered, nurtured, exhibited. So that's why, when I had the opportunity to become an associate producer with Alexander Gurman, the first thing I thought to do, I'm going to bring in the artist. I'm going to discuss the art. It's really nice to meet people like you who worked in a professional industry that valued the use of arts. Because I think that we need more of that.
Yeah, it's a shame that there isn't more of it, and I don't see it moving in that direction.
Exactly, not now.
Which is not now, which is really too bad.
And as far as your current exhibitions are going, like right now, how many pieces do you have on display in various places, and do you have anything coming up that you would like to mention?
Well, right now I work with a woman in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Her name is Tamar, and her gallery is called Sitka Gallery. She's a lovely person. I've been working with her for a number of years. She has work there, and she'll be showing some of my work in Martha's Vineyard this summer. I'll be in a show in East Hampton in April called Art Groove, which is a yearly show that a woman out there runs. And I'm always trying to find venues. You have to be really selective as you do it. There's usually a fee to apply for juried shows. You should know who the juror is. You should look at the juror's work and make sure you have an idea before you
and make sure it's a legitimate gallery, because that's
too.
another problem. Like some people are just sticking the word gallery on like any.
Well, anybody can say they're an artist or they're a gallery.
So you have to be careful. There is a lot of vetting process, and a lot of artists, especially new artists, don't necessarily realize that. But you have to really check out.
I learned the hard way. I really did. We had some experiences that were very upsetting, and felt bad about. But you learn to be selective and figure out where you feel comfortable.
Now, Art Expo, which is a huge international art show, is taking place in April. I think it's the 21st. Are you going to be at Art Expo?
No, I've been in the Affordable Art Fair on 2 occasions.
That's a very good fair, too.
It's a really cool fair.
It's worth it.
And I've also been in the Art Hamptons before. And I feel like the art fair scene is interesting, but right now I'm not doing that.
Are you going to visit Art Expo?
I always do. I will see that.
I'll be there as press.
Well, I'll look forward to seeing you there. There is a really cool thing that I've applied to. I don't know if it'll happen. It's called the Solo Art Fair. It's sponsored, I think, by Saatchi & Saatchi. And artists have to apply and pay $100, which is a lot of money. But if you get into that show, it's a weekend art fair in September at Brooklyn Art Expo, and it doesn't cost anything.
Cool.
So it's really cool. I've heard from them recently that they're evaluating my portfolio. Who knows? You can't take this stuff that seriously. You have to go on, try again.
You just gotta
pick up your boots and
keep trying,
again.
and just and celebrate the victories when you get them.
And the fact that you can do things online, I think, makes it a little bit easier. You can send emails to people and to galleries. You never see them; they never see you. If they don't like your work, you don't feel it in a way. If you're like bringing your artwork, with your portfolio to a gallery.
The internet has made a lot of things way easier, especially when it comes to communication.
Yes, I think it really has.
So speaking of the internet and communication, if somebody is interested in learning more about you or your work, what is the best website or social media?
It's my website. I have I love Instagram. I think it's really cool. It's so visual. I have an Instagram account, but I have a website. It's my name. It's
Beth Barry.
www.bethbarry.com. I also have work on Artsy through the gallery that I'm part of, which is the Carter Burden Gallery. And I'm venturing into trying to sell work. There's another really cool site called Indie Walls, which I apply to and am part of. What it is that hotels and individual people and galleries and restaurants post art. They say they want art, and they give you an example of the art they want. And I had to be vetted by Indie Walls. They accepted me, and these different companies show you what they want, and you get a chance to pitch your artwork.
Oh, that's
it's
marvelous.
really, really cool.
Walls.
INDI Walls.
That
it's very cool.
Good lead. I'm going to check that out.
Check out Indie Walls. It's really. I think they have many, many artists. So I get emails. A new project has been posted. I look at it. They tell you enough about the work you're looking for, so you can say, well, this is applicable. This isn't. If they like your work, they favor it, and then they ask you to send more work in. Indie Walls gets 40% of the sales, so you have a relationship with them. They do all of the stuff, but it's cool. It's a really cool. That's a new site.
So Beth, thank you so much for coming in today.
It was really nice to talk with you.
It's always nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
And thank you so much for taking part in the show at the DeMuesy Contemporary Gallery. And I'm going to have way more information about that gallery in the near future.
Great.
So thank you for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Andre.